and welcome. It is my absolute honor and greatest pleasure to welcome the amazing, the wonderful Dagmar Bauer-Prigatano. Welcome.
Hi, Liz. And hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Woo, so excited to connect with you here.
Me
Okay,
too.
thank you. So the very first
You're
question,
welcome.
what does self-care mean to you?
Well, self-care to me means that I am able to understand my needs in a sense to regulate my health and well-being without a healthcare professional actually being involved. So to be aware of myself and my needs and tend to those needs as I go along.
Ooh, I love that. So it's like a prevention rather than a cure. We don't need to seek the self-care outside of ourselves because we're fulfilling it ourselves. Mm.
Absolutely. So, as I am by profession a licensed acupuncturist, health and wellness coach, and also an essential oil advocate, also, I practice not only what I preach, and so to speak, and so by very much so being aware of my needs, trying to integrate. Also, according to my knowledge, and tend to it in order to create a balance to actually prevent dis-ease, right? And so given oftentimes life or genetics, life, and other external influences, especially these days, right? The stress levels are higher than ever, it seems. It is so of vital importance that we do tend to our needs more than before.
Yeah, I love that. And so on a daily basis with your own self-care, do you have like a routine that you follow? Are there certain things you're checking in with?
Well, yes, I do have my routine, aside from the usual thing that everybody talks about of like you gotta exercise and you gotta be quiet and your prayer time. Yes, I do all of those things also. So I have a tendency to try to get up early in the morning and use the quiet time, the early morning time to tune in. Yes, I do have my prayers in the morning and just to kind of like actually even before I get out of bed to scan a little bit and as to how I'm feeling and what is coming up, and also how I wish to see my day to go about. And so after quiet time and tuning in or setting my intentions and having some time to speak with my husband about what's happening. I tend to always go for a walk with my puppy, of course. But what I do is I get ready for the day, and as I have tuned in, accordingly, I manage to either create my breakfast or as I get ready in the morning for my day also, I tend to integrate my essential oils very much so to my needs. So I do address my physical, my mental, emotional, or spiritual need also. So as they just like, lend themselves also to on this vibrational level in a very simple but very effective way to even tune into your psycho-spiritual needs and create oftentimes a little bit of a shift as you go about your day.
Mm.
So this is pretty much my routine in the morning, but also in the evening as I settle down again. So definitely twice a day or whenever possible throughout the day. I also try to take a moment to see what I can do about it. Being of service and being a giver, I have learned over the years that it is vitally important. If you're a mom, if you're a giver, empty cup for a moment. I apologize if that's the case. Okay, oops, I think I have frozen for a moment. I apologize, Liz.
Oh, no
Um,
worries.
so what I was, yeah, so what I was saying is it is vitally important being of service, being a mom, being a giver, that we give to ourselves first. We cannot give from an empty cup. So tuning in, making sure our needs are met also is just is a given. We cannot give from an empty cup.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So thinking about your own self-care journey, do you remember your very first like memory of self-care?
Actually, I do. And so the first memory of self-care was actually when I don't know how old I was. 3, 4, maybe. But I do remember in being a little girl sitting in my bathtub water. You know those little white bath basins when you're a little child, when you're growing up. So remembering my mom giving me my bath and my routines, of my bath. So taking a bath is still a favorite thing of mine, and definitely brought some keen awareness also of tending to myself and my needs. So yeah, definitely.
Oh, oh, that's beautiful. And how
Mhm.
would you say your self-care has changed kind of over your lifetime?
Has it changed over my lifetime? I would say, again, going back to doing what I'm doing in my life here, supporting others to help and deal with their pain, prevent their pain as an acupuncturist and coach also, but not just their pain, just in general, also with the challenges also. And what I have integrated, I myself have gone a lot deeper also with a greater understanding of myself and tending to myself and with my experiences then also and my knowledge to just try to convey to others, to go deeper, to find greater understanding of yourself and your needs. And so I think one of the most important things is, I mean, there's so much out there, right? We all know self-care and meditation and yoga and what is out there and what's available and what we should do. But what are we doing or what are we not doing? And so when we are not doing it, I think I like to ask myself, and I tend to have a way of asking others, well, if you're not doing it, what really is underneath? Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you following through? Because the information is out there and it's available. So if you're having a choice, if you are creating, even just like you, Liz, as you're promoting, takes 3 for you, right? Those few minutes per day to just take quiet time to tune in or do something simple, like maybe enjoy a cup of tea, or go for a brief walk or take a few deep breaths also, to just tune in. How are you feeling and what is coming up? So if we're not doing it and creating the time, what is underneath? Why not?
Yeah.
So really, I have to say all of the above here, as I have gone along in my self care, um, just been able to go deeper in my journey about all of this along the way.
Yeah. I love that. And I think it's so important that you terming it as a journey and as practice, because we start wherever we start, and then it's each little tiny step that we take along the way that we get deeper, into ourselves and into that connection. And we're able to quicker kind of connect with what it is that we actually need in that moment. But it all takes practice.
Absolutely. Practice makes perfect, right? And
Yeah.
so, oftentimes we have been exposed to trauma, and trauma is painful. And, we may be able to move on and intellectually make sense of things, but on an emotional level or deep in a cellular level, trauma gets stuck oftentimes. And so it's not always pleasant to confront and to look at trauma and what has been there, or what may keep us stuck again, or why we are making certain choices, or what we do or don't do. So, but the thing is, life is such. If life was easy, we would never evolve and have a greater sense of awareness, and really reach a higher level of being. And so, this is just part of the journey and trying to understand self in order to have more joy in our life and really tapping into um, living our most joyful journey here. And that's really what we are here for, and creating harmonious, joyful, uplifting relationships while we are here.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So pulling
Mm.
on that joy piece, what do you do for yourself for joy?
Oh, there's so many things that I like to do for joy. I'm all about joy. It's wonderful. So anything that I'm in nature, so nature, the simplicity of nature fills me up, and it's just the beauty of it. And my little puppy makes me happy. And if it's, by the beach or by the mountains and or horseback riding, and I love to travel. I these days with COVID, it's a little harder, but I can't wait for the day to go back and travel the world again and explore other cultures and other places. So that is what I love to do in the external world. And, as I go out and when I'm here, just being with my family also, doing the little things, the simple things, or sometimes just, being and taking a nap can be rather joyful also.
Yeah, I resonate. Like we were talking about earlier, exactly what I did this morning.
Exactly. Good. Yeah, we all need it. And, taking a little nap without feeling guilty, that's big in our busy society.
Yeah, it is. So thinking about what are your very favorite places to go to?
Well, one of my favorite places, and I think you asked the question the other day in the Facebook group, is the ocean. And so, well, the ocean, the vastness of the ocean, and I do like any kind of body of water, if it's a lake or a stream also, but I think the vastness of the ocean, that keeps the magic and the curiosity, being closer to the unconscious, I guess, as you're near a body of water, and something that kind of keeps you curious and stimulated about like what a small speck we really are in this vastness of this universe, and the potential that is here, or that we have, that we live within. So we are a microcosmos in this macrocosm. And it's just always wondrous to be there and also enjoy the freshness of the ocean, realizing, a continuum in renewal and restoration, and the ability that we have is if we listen to the needs that we actually have and what is available to us.
Mm.
So that brings me joy, and that's where I like to be and hang out.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I think just looking at that, the vastness of the ocean, of all that water, you realize just everything flows. All the emotion, all that disease that, we spoke of before, it can just flow back through. And at the kind of the essence of everything is those little tiny droplets of water. And it all just keeps processing, keeps moving. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes, exactly.
Mm. Ah, yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
And then another question I have for you is you said about traveling brings you joy. So where's the first place that you get to go explore next when, the kind of the limitations are taken?
Hmm. Well, I think one of my places that I was going to go, but it was canceled, unfortunately. I'm going to head to Tibet. And so trying to see if I can get to on a hiking trek to the Himalayas. And then also my husband and I would love to go and visit Greece.
Mm.
So I have been to Greece before, but just trying to explore a little bit more of the islands again, and surrounded by the beautiful waters. So those are two of the destinations that we have in mind to go to.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And I could see you lit up when you start to speak about it. So it definitely does fill you with joy.
Yes, it does. It's like, okay, tomorrow we can go. Yes, what time? I'll be there. Make it work.
Yes.
Let's go on an adventure. Life is an adventure. So just sometimes we need to be spontaneous and allow ourselves just to go, you know, where it pulls us. So
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And that again, that pulls you back into that intuition, being in the moment and spontaneous.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. So, acknowledging your feelings and your thoughts also, just exploring a little bit, of what are you feeling, what are you thinking, without judgment or assessing and analyzing, it's just like to really just allow your thoughts and your feelings to come and go, and just as you were a bystander, and just to observe as to what is. And so, and when some things come up, to just say, oh, isn't that interesting, and see what comes about, or asking, well, where is that coming from and why is that? So a little bit going into the self-exploration, and then just the fact of accepting, acknowledging and accepting what is, versus um, if it is an uncomfortable thought or an uncomfortable experience that comes back, in trying to push it aside, because that is what gets us into trouble, right? And so on so many levels, if it is with our health, if it is in our environment, if, in relationships. So this is really what creates that, what in Chinese medicine called stagnation, and not that flow. Um, and also just being totally accepting and loving of oneself despite it all. So understanding it is part of who we are, and what we need to become, and not to reject that part in us.
Yeah. That's absolutely beautiful. And I think there's such a big kind of link with like self-care and self-love. They kind of combine, and it's one, isn't it? Because when we're caring for ourselves, we're loving ourselves unconditionally and allowing ourselves to feel whatever we feel in that moment as being just perfect for us right now. And then working out, how do we
Absolutely.
support ourselves?
Yes, absolutely. To being standing in total self acceptance and self love. And by doing so, realize that you have such potential, without that limitations, that it can propel you to your desired life, to just stand within that by not holding back and not rejecting any part of your being. So, yeah, but it's always easier said than done. And so that's why self-care, it is so important, just to check in all the time. And, if you don't have the means, or not necessarily the time all the time, or, we don't want to be uh, overly, hypochondriacal about things and run to see somebody every 5 minutes. So learning that self-care and self-understanding, and being able to reach for some small things, um, and this is why, for example, I love to advocate to using some of the purest essential oils also, because these on a vibrational level, for God knows how long, right? If it's several thousands of years. And so even going back to the Egyptian times, right, where, for example, myrrh and cypress was used to um, mummify the bodies, and thousands of years, frankincense has been found and still had a wonderful smell to it also, in order to just, using the small things to change your vibrational levels, applying it properly, choosing the right things to be able to help yourself. And so, and some of those oils, as they're pure, you can use them for your physical needs. If it's pain or digestion, you can use them to shift that psycho-spiritual aspect also, or, the way you feel emotionally. So, and some of them, if they're pure enough, you can even maybe implement as you're preparing your food and your nutrition, which is another way of self-care, right? Choosing the joy, again, the choices that you make by understanding yourself, also knowing when to add or when to delete, and just really trying to adjust so you can find that balance within yourself.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, if you were speaking to someone who's coming at self care for the very first time, where would you suggest
Mhm.
they begin?
Yeah, I think again, meaning if they haven't done anything for themselves, again, to try to explore why they haven't, to really say why have I not created the time, and what's been keeping me, and what is their individual understanding of self-care, what are their needs. And in order to understand your needs, you're going to have to create room and space and make a little bit of time. So when we don't have time and when we are always busy, it certainly is an intimacy issue of not wanting to feel specific emotions or experiences. So I think if somebody comes for the first time towards self-care, it is, well, why haven't I? Because when does self-care start? How are we being taught self-care? When does self-care start? Does it start when we're going, already when we're little growing up? Is a self-care time that our parents teach us a little quiet time to just read and be for a few minutes every day? Is it the teenage years? When is self-care needed? When are we starting? And how do we go about it? And if we haven't again, why not? What are we avoiding? So really, the first time self-care, I would explore why not and what are our needs. And then once you understand your needs, then it will be much easier to make the necessary choices, right? If somebody has a need to, if they want to be more physical, want to go for a jog and want to do yoga, right? If this is what settles possibly their anxiety or help with a depression or just to work things out and create that space for understanding and relaxation, then I think it's just vital to make sure, okay, how many times a week can I create how much time in order to, have my need met? And what is it that it will take for me to maybe have those 150 minutes a week? Is it 2 times a week for 75 minutes? Is it, however you want to set it up and whatever the schedule allows. So really being able to schedule the time into the day.
Ah, it's so beautiful. I could listen to your voice for hours.
Oh, thank you, Liz. Alrighty.
You have such a beautiful energy as you're explaining, and I
Oh, thank
really feel like that flow coming through you. Yeah, that's
thank you,
beautiful.
Liz. Well, I've really learned to embody and try to live as to what I preach, so to speak. And so uh, it is one of my highest aspirations to support somebody else in order to be able to unfold really and go about their life so that they can live the life that they've been desiring. So, and it's just something very small that needs to just click and shift gear, so to speak, in order to get on that path. So we always say life is a journey, right? And so our paths meet for some reasons. Some people stay for a long time, some people come and go. But one of my life's philosophy is that I want to, wherever I go along, I want to do my part in life, not to force anybody, but if I can be of support and help, then that's what I'm here for. So I love what I do. What can I say? And I do have to say it comes and was reinforced just even more so. So, I've been in my acupuncture practice for over 30 years now and have had that same philosophy and that lifestyle approach because Chinese medicine is not just a form of medicine. It is a lifestyle and the way we approach life, a very Taoist approach of how we, again, are a microcosmos in this universe. And so, as it lends itself to address the physical, with the pain, the mental emotions, so that psycho-spiritual aspect also, and how things can shift. And so, many of my patients and clients have oftentimes come very distraught uh, into my practice and into my life. And as we have gone along, they have been able to, you know, create what their deepest desire was. And quite honestly, money doesn't give you the satisfaction then just seeing somebody reach that joy also, and knowing that you have been able to be just a small little conduit in helping somebody to get there. So it's been very satisfying. So
Well, thank you. Thank you for your service. Yeah, that's
well,
beautiful.
thank you. Yeah. So, but we all try to find something like that, right? And so, yeah. But again, sometimes we do something that doesn't necessarily resonate with us, and then there are so many little things or fears that can be part of why we don't do it. So even that little shift to find something that really resonates with us of who we are, right? And to be our unique self and that contribution in the world, and letting your individual light shine and do what really is important to you so that you can unfold. Uh, just that is of such importance also.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
completely. And I think that's the ultimate self-care, isn't it? Is to connect to yourself and then let yourself be yourself. And
exactly.
that's it. So it sounds really simple, but it isn't easy.
You're right on that one. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so, so much for your time. I absolutely appreciate your wisdom so much.
Oh,
This,
you're so welcome.
yeah, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, you're so welcome. And so is your audience. I hope they can take a little part of it and find some encouragement here to just create those 3 minutes for you, as you're saying, Liz, and start to tune into what are really their needs.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.